Oh, I'm buzzing, to be honest. Yeah, I'm still a bit dazed about it. I mean, when the result was called and it was obviously I'd won, it was sort of just like, oh, because obviously I've been campaigning for that entire thing to win. We've been going for it to win, but it was still sort of a bit of a shock because it was like, I don't know, it's the first time winning, first time standing as a target candidate. So I did stand earlier in the year as a paper candidate, but that came with no campaign. So it's first time it's been about me, really, the campaign. So I'm absolutely buzzy and really proud to have won, and now be representing Woodhouse and Handsworth on council.
And so you're also a second year student at the moment. So
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's early days, but how are you going to be balancing your studies at the moment with becoming a city councillor?
Yeah. Well, this year, like I mentioned to you before, I've sort of taken a back seat this year with uni, sort of only doing part-time basically. So I've got plenty of time outside of that, obviously, to do council duties. But if I go back to being full-time student whilst also doing the council work, I have spoken with other councillors who've got full-time jobs at the same time as being a councillor. Sort of speaking with them about how they balance it. I've got no particular concerns about it one sabotaging the other. But yeah.
Super. So on the campaign that you've had, what were the main points that have come up in the most people were talking to voters?
Lots of people were just very angry with the government, particularly over their refusal to keep the two-child caps benefits, which keeps a million kids in poverty. Scrapping the winter fuel allowance, and just sort of people in July they voted Labour because they wanted change. And they want a different approach than things, and all they've seen since is just the same old policies from the last 14 years, even going further in certain, like the winter fuel allowance. Even the Tories didn't cut that. And so there's sort of just general anger at the National Labour Party, but it also goes back to local stuff as well. The national issues is definitely what lost Labour it, but locally, it's sort of local issues is what helped the Lib Dems win, because in that area, it's just been neglected for a long time. People don't feel listened to. There's the issues that are in the ward are minor, but there's that many of them that they sort of just piled up into this massive mountain of people going, we complain about this little thing, it never gets done, but then another thing happens, no one ever gets done about it. But it's sort of just felt very strongly anti-Labour, and just people voting for whoever, just to get Labour out, and that's sort of why I think I got such a strong vote, and also why Reform got such a strong vote, is just general anger at the Labour Party.
That's a really strong point. I noticed when I was walking around Woodhouse, actually, I was near Handsworth, and actually met a person, her name was Janet, and she had one of the
stake boards, yes. Yeah, I've met her a couple of times.
She was talking about kind of parking issues in the area, and it was clear from speaking to her that she wanted to be listened to, and she wanted her kind of concerns to be raised. So what were the kind of main points on your platform, the platform that you ran on? And between now and the next council election, how do you hope to realise your policy?
So in terms of issues that I'll be able to deal with as a councillor, so you mentioned Janet with her parking issues. So with her case in particular, parking on her road is very difficult. She lives opposite a school, so people, parents come and pick up the kids and park outside her house, which is just all, you expect that. But the problem is when she comes home either from going out shopping, meeting up with friends, say she's got a load of shopping bags, she's got 12 steps to climb to get to her front door, which she struggles with. So, but there is a patch of land behind her house, and her neighbours are quite keen to, be able to use that land for parking. So that's just one instance. But potholes is a big thing. People have said to me, "Oh, there's a pothole. Have you seen that pothole down the road with the square painted around it?" I go, "Yeah, it's been there 8 months." Or, you see the drain. See how no, yeah, exactly, because it's covered in leaves. Or it's sort of just loads and loads of local issues of sort of, like I say, minor things, but they build up. And again, with people just wanting to be listened to, people don't feel like they have been listened to by the Labour Party. I mean, last year, 6 Labour councillors, including Councillor Paul Wood, who passed away earlier this year, and I'm now serving out the rest of his term. He was thrown out of the Labour Party last year because he voted against the Labour whip, because there was a petition that with 2,000 signatures from his patch saying, please could you vote against this specific thing on the council. He did that, he listened to his residents, and the Labour Party thanked him for it by giving him the boot. Including former leader Terry Fox, who was included in that 6. So it's sort of people were not very happy about the fact that if they did get a councillor from the Labour Party that listened to them, they'd get thrown out for listening to them.
And yeah, I mean, reflecting on like the work that you've already done, like in the community around litter picking and such. I mean, do you see your role as a councillor now as kind of like paying back?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've grew up in that area and sort of benefited greatly from the sort of community groups. Like I grew up going through Scouts, you know, Handsworth Scout. I've been there many a time and have benefit. You know, all the people that helped out with that has benefited greatly from it. And obviously now I've been voted in by the people of the area, and so that's just a massive debt that I want to, you know, do my best to repay, because I'm proud to come from that area. I'm proud to have, you know, grown up in that area, and I'm very grateful to the area for, giving me the opportunities that it's given me. So for the next year and a half, until I hopefully get re-elected, I will be spending that time working hard and doing what I can to get stuff sorted for local people.
That's super. And finally, one last question, and again, like, congratulations on your victory. But
Thank you.
I mean, just addressing the elephant in the room, the fact that Reform came a very close second, they asked for the count as well.
Yeah.
And it's their best result in the
Yeah.
field as well. I mean, what are your thoughts about that massive increase in the share?
Yeah, so it's a bit worrying because, Reform do represent they're a bit of an exception in politics. You know, they're quite reactionary, quite angry with the sort of stuff that they're saying. And with the other parties, I tend to disagree on policy or attitudes towards certain things. Whereas what I've heard from the other parties stood there, it's sort of more so a matter of principle. But with regards to how they got such a high vote, they had a local candidate, Andrew Hizzard. He campaigned hard in the past few weeks, delivering leaflets, talking to people. And so that obviously helped him, he's well known locally, so that obviously helped him gain a boost. But also the Labour Party took this by-election as a Labour versus Reform election, rather not Labour Lib Dem, which obviously we were the major contenders and we've now won. But they tried passing it off as it's either Labour or Reform, and I think that pushed a lot of people to vote Reform because, like I said earlier, people are angry with the Labour Party, and they sort of saw this by-election as a way to send the government a message to say, no, we don't want to be ignored anymore. No, we're not just going to allow you to do all these things that we don't like and just, keep voting you in. And so a lot of people saw that and thought, well, I'll vote for Reform then if that's what it takes to get rid of Labour.